We're just going to play a couple of pieces for you today. And really what we're doing is opening the door to a process. So it does require a little bit of description, which is that this extends out of about a 6 or 7 year workshop that Jody and I have been doing in the summertime called the Jazz It Up Camp. And more we decided that we wanted to work more and more on a really creative play-based process with some younger children. We've been playing some jazz music. We're not presenting it for you today, but we've been working on certain skills to do with swinging and really specific traditional things like that, how chords work, playing heads, swinging, all that kind of thing. But primarily, we've been improvising, quite purely improvising. And there's a whole different group of skill sets that come out of this. But the primary reasoning behind this, and I work with massive amounts of students out in my school district, young and through the high school grades, doing this kind of work. And what you're doing is you're putting the creative musician is primary, rather than the technical musician. And it's not instead of, it's as well as, right? As opposed to a thing of like, oh, this is the way to play. No, it's an addition to practicing your scales and your chords and your articulation and your long tones and so forth. And so within this structure, when we talk, we only have one rule, and that rule is way harder to follow than you might think. And that rule is we must listen to each other, like all the time. That's the rule. There's no rules about notes or tempos or anything like that. But there is a rule about if we find ourselves getting into our own world a little bit too much and we're not open and we're not listening. So these are the skills that we're actually working on. And the more we started doing this, interesting with students this age, the less they wanted me to practice the swing stuff with them, and the more they wanted to do this, the other way around, right? It's like, so, especially around Halloween, because then you can get really crazy. And so I don't want to go too long about it, but I do want you to understand what it is you're hearing. You're hearing purely improvised music. We literally have no idea what we're going to do. And in the spirit of that, sometimes I would bring, I'm a professional trumpet player, and that's what I would bring. And other times I would like not play anything on my trumpet. I would just play other instruments just like them. And this is another thing I want you to know before we start. Everybody was playing everything, right? And Hookmani here is playing the bass, probably first picked it up about a month ago. Right? Because that's the spirit of the thing. Who wants to play piano? Like, you don't have to be the kid who takes piano lessons to play piano in the group, right? And it's been that, you want to try drums? It's the whole process has been this way. And all we're doing today is something that is only one of them. We do graphic scores and things like that as well. But primarily we say, what color do you want to do? Right? And Jody's got this great, we've added to it a bit, but this great sheet on the wall. And under the colors, a bunch of different moods that come under those colors. And then we've come to kind of know these colors in our mind a little bit. And we'll just say, a student will come up and say, oh, well, green, and under green I want to do mellow, and you see what I'm saying? So today we're going to start with purple and orange, which is kind of in our mind got a bit of a 1967 San Francisco vibe to it. And then we'll just see where it goes and end it up. And then we're going to do blue and green, which, of course, you know, if you know the Miles Davis album, kind of blue and green goes together fairly well in the jazz world. And